Between what we've lived through and what our day jobs demand, we've spent some serious time researching neuroscience. The pattern we keep seeing is the way we think shapes the way we behave. And over time, those behaviors shape our outcomes, often before we even realize we've made a choice.
So in that research of neuroscience, it opened the door to neuroplasticity, habit loops, stress responses, microdecisions, all the brainy stuff that explains why just try harder is a trash strategy. In this lab, we're rewiring habits one experiment at a time.
Welcome to I² Lab.
I've been thinking about the different stages of a weight loss journey. And you know how when you first start, you're uber focused. You're tracking everything.
Oh, yeah.
You're watching the scale. You're paying attention to every decision. But a few months in, 6 months in, a year in, whatever it is, or maybe even you're getting close to maintenance even, suddenly that same level of focus, it either feels exhausting or it stops working altogether. I feel like a lot of people think maybe something's wrong with me.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Or, I mean, we've been there, I know, and I feel like a lot of other people have probably been to that stage.
It's interesting you bring this up because I've been really thinking, because in the lab, we talk a lot about the inner work you need to do. You can come into the lab doing any kind of weight loss program. You know, the program is the program. What you do is different than how you do it.
Exactly.
Which is kind of what I've been thinking about. How do we frame this? But it's almost like the framework needs to have these different phases built in.
Right.
Because that first week, if I bring us back to when we did Weight Watchers, they even told you in Weight Watchers, look, there's like 1 to 3 weeks. We don't want you exercising at all.
Don't focus on that. It's too much.
It's too much.
Right.
You need to get the nutrition right. You need to get your habits and your behavior around the food right. Quit thinking that walking is amazing, or that the gym lifting weights is going to get the weight off of you. And not address the food.
Right.
So the first phase, I don't know. So it's interesting you're bringing this up, and we haven't talked about this beforehand.
We haven't. No. I just totally brought it up randomly.
But I remember whenever because we started Weight Watchers like 8 million times. Actually, I think it was like 5, but still, it was a lot of different times. And every time we did it, there was a different twist to the program. They're like, okay, how many points do we get this time? Is it 48? Is it going to be 28? You know, it was kind of weird. We had to relearn it. At least that phase of it every time we went in, which was hitting something for us every time. It was almost like it was something new and exciting every time we went. And it always felt very similar, maybe not exactly the same. That week 1, you get really excited. You're okay, I'm doing this. I'm going to change. I'm going to be a whole new person. I'm going to just be like, when I drop all this weight, I'm going to be amazing. And it's just going to be the best thing ever. So you're locked in. You're learning all the things, and it's firing different things in your brain. And then week 2, you're like, all right, we're doing this. And then week 3, you're like, ugh, got to do this.
I know, this again. It gets a little stale almost.
It's like, okay.
But those different, like the different phases, I feel like eventually, if you don't change with it, those phases, eventually,
Sorry, my thing keeps beeping.
We have some technology that keeps ringing in the background.
I don't know.
Well, we'll try to figure out what that is and stuff. Like if you don't change with it, eventually you'll think something's wrong with me. You know, and
this should be easier, and it's not. So,
like, what if what worked before isn't working, isn't supposed to work anymore? You think something's wrong with you, and then it really trips you up. And I like with Weight Watchers, when they change the points system, it really messed with our heads sometimes.
Yeah. Oh, it totally derailed us because they changed it right in the middle.
You're like, you're telling me chicken's not 0 points anymore? Like, I mean, it just totally trips you up sometimes.
It completely messed me up that time.
Right.
And I had lost 125 pounds.
And it messes with the way you perceive things.
Yeah. there was other things that were happening too. At that same point in time, in that time around the mountain, I had lost about 125 pounds on Weight Watchers. And you and I were both tracking about the same. Like we were within 5 pounds of each other's in the amount of weight to lose. You were actually 50 pounds lighter than I was starting that. So you were always 50 pounds
but we had lost the same
amount of weight. Yeah. So we both were down about 100 to 125 pounds. And someone had asked me, how much more weight are you going to lose?
Yeah.
And that caught me off guard. I wasn't prepared for that. So everybody get your butts prepared for that, because some person, I was going to call him something else. I was going to call him a dunder. I don't know why. And then I was like, maybe
call him
not.
a dunder.
You know, they actually took a moment out of their day and voiced something out loud to you. Whether, you know, it was a gentleman. I worked with him. And oh my gosh, you look, I mean, he was like, you have done so much. You look amazing. You're not going to lose much more. Like it was, and it wasn't even like accusatory, like, oh my God, you shouldn't. You look like a skeleton. He didn't say any of those things. I think I was looking for something. And what I don't remember is if they had already changed the point system. So I was looking for a reason to quit. Or if he had said that and then the points system changed. And then so I had I already had.
You made a connection in
either
some
way. Subconsciously, I had logged something that was some sort of a threat to what I was doing.
Yeah.
And the threat being the system, the program moved.
Yeah.
The territory changed.
Yep.
And I didn't know what to do with that.
Yep.
I had reconciled it in a certain way, and don't do that.
Yeah.
I wasn't prepared for that kind of change.
Yeah.
But I think this is really important to bring up, because let's say you've had, you were able to have bacon and pork chops and cauliflower rice, like for a good period of time, and you lost 50 pounds having that as like maybe your main staple of some kind, but now you've got another 50 pounds to go. You might have to change the food that you're bringing in to lose that next 50. What worked before might not work for that next phase of your journey, both in food, both in habits, both in behavior, both in your identity, that how you see yourself. This is actually
a
pretty
big deal,
deep, and actually multi-layered.
Yes. Yeah.
I don't want it to be overly complicated, because people are like, I can't, that's too much.
That's exactly what I want to get into though. Okay. I found a study. And it got me thinking about weight loss, because I tie a lot of, just like what you've said a couple podcasts ago, a lot of unrelated studies to weight loss, I tie to weight loss.
Unrelated studies that have nothing to do with weight loss.
Yeah.
You can tie to.
You think about
it's
weight
habit
loss.
change. It's behavior change. It's how you think means how you behave.
Exactly.
It all fits.
You're just thinking about it. So it's called the Fish Study by, I don't know if I'm going to say the names right, Masuda and Nisbet. It's Masuda. I should have figured out how to say the names.
We'll put the study in the show notes.
Yeah, and Nisbet, Nisbett, could be Nisbet. It was in the early 2000s. So these research, they showed people short underwater scenes, nothing crazy. It's just a few fish, some plants, bubbles, some movement. And in most of the clips, there was only like one big colorful fish, clearly the main character. And then they would ask people one question: what do you see? And here's where it gets interesting. When they showed American participants, they answered things like,
hopefully you guys can't hear that ding. Maybe you can.
When they
I don't know why it's annoying me so bad. Keep going.
It's funny that I'm about to say what I'm about to say, that you're so focused on that. So when they asked American participants, what do you see? They said things like, there's a big fish, kind of an orange swimming fast, big fish. It looked like it was leading the group. They led with the main object that they saw in
and that was the
video.
Americans?
That was the Americans.
The Americans.
But when they asked the Japanese participants, they had two groups that they asked. The Japanese group answered, they said things like, there was a pond with green plants and moving water. Smaller fish were swimming around the big one. So they led with the environment and the relationships. So same video, same fish, different reality. So what's wild is neither group was wrong. This wasn't about intelligence. This wasn't about attention span. It was about something much deeper. It's what their brains were trained to notice. So what researchers describe this as is analytic focus thinking. So narrow attention, zeroing in on specific goals or objects, which is why I laughed that you were so focused in on the dinging as an American.
I'm too American.
As an American. And versus holistic thinking. So broad attention, seeing patterns in context and relationships. So over time, something incredible happens with our brain. Now, we've talked about this a lot, right? So our brain rewires itself around what we repeatedly pay attention to. So the idea of neuroplasticity, simple but powerful, right? The brain doesn't just respond to the world, it adapts to it. So if our environment constantly rewards things like independence, individual achievement, and standing out, which is so American, our brain gets really good at spotting the fish. But if our environment emphasizes group harmony, relationships, and context, our brain gets really good at seeing the water. So here's the real takeaway. It's not just that people think differently. We literally perceive different aspects of reality. So before we even form a thought about it. So here's the weight loss mode thought that I had. Like, we naturally adapt a more focused lens in weight loss. We track calories or macros. We monitor the scale closely. We follow structured routines. We make very intentional, sometimes rigid decisions, right? And it works.
Yep.
Because weight loss is about creating consistent, measurable change. Like saying, find the fish, stay locked in. And honestly, that level of focus is powerful, right? It works over and over again. We lose the weight.
Yeah.
But here's where I think we get stuck. And I haven't been to maintenance yet, but I've gotten close to it. And that's where I have gone off track sometimes. I feel like I kept using the same lens, like that same level of rigidity. I can't say that word.
Well, it's how we were taught to
exactly keep
focus
going.
on weight loss.
Keep going. That same level of tracking, that same level of hyper focus, and eventually it starts to break down. Like, it feels exhausting. It's restrictive. It's fragile, and one day everything gets thrown off. Somebody tells you, "You're not going to keep going, are you?" And it's easy to think, I lost my discipline. But we've been talking about finding a different perspective this whole time and in our labs. And this study with the culture perspective brought it up for me again. It also made me think of another study with Kuhn that I thought would be good to bring up.
Yeah. I'm looking up one. I have another one too.
You have another one
yeah,
too?
no,
Okay.
keep going because I think the one you might be thinking of might be the one. No,
Okay.
it might not be.
Okay.
Mine's not Kuhn. Go ahead.
Okay, I'll bring up Kuhn, but then you interrupt me too. I'll bring up Kuhn because I don't want to go too far down too many studies. I don't want to bore everybody.
I know.
But,
Everybody's like, ugh.
but Kuhn is good because I won't go too far into Kuhn because I'll bring this into weight loss really quickly.
KUHN.
Yeah, KUHN.
We can also put the link to the studies in the show notes if we got some nerds out there that are interested.
Thomas Kuhn is interesting, and I won't go too far into him. So Thomas Kuhn, he's a philosopher of science. He introduced the idea of paradigm shifts. A paradigm is our shared assumption about reality, like our accepted theories or laws. He argued that progress doesn't happen just by improving within the same system.
Yep.
Essentially, it happens when the system itself changes. So a paradigm is essentially the lens through which we understand or solve problems. So why am I bringing this up? Because we walk around believing that we see reality clearly, right? They all saw the same video, but they saw a different reality, right? So they were in a different paradigm, essentially, in that other study. So what we're actually seeing is a reality filtered through a paradigm, so a trained lens. So a mental map that says this matters, or this is the background, or ignore that, pay attention to that. Like, we're filtering reality when we see it. So Kuhn showed us that like a paradigm works really well, but eventually it starts to fail.
Mm-hmm.
Not because it's wrong, but because the problem has changed.
Yeah.
And that's, to me, that's our weight loss journey. Like, the journey is changing.
It absolutely is.
Yeah.
We're trying to still solve the scale.
Yes.
That's not actually the problem. The problem is maintaining the weight.
Yes.
We can all lose the weight. And I've been saying this in the lab. I don't know if you go back to some of the...
And maintenance is not just weight loss. It's life, right?
It's life.
It's life.
And if we're stuck in this paradigm of diet mentality, I'm doing this diet, I'm honing in on my macros and my calories. And I'm not saying you don't need to do that. That's not what I'm saying.
That's part of it.
100%.
Yes.
Look, nobody's getting it. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Nobody is getting out of thermodynamics. You need to find your TDEE, your total daily energy expenditure, and figure out what it takes calorie-wise to keep you alive and back it down 20 to 30%. It's not that hard. That's what you need to do. And you need to be in a calorie deficit, period. And yes, you need to have the right amount of protein based on your age, because we become protein resistant as we get older. So there is some, I know, I hate it. I hate it so much.
At least I like to eat protein.
Yeah, that's good.
There's that. Yeah.
So there is some nuance in figuring out your macro balance, but it's also less about, gosh, did I get 79 grams of fat? And did I get less than 100 grams of it's less about that and more about the nutrition you're putting in your body, the calorie deficit. Yes, that's all important, but that's not where it ends. That's only the first phase of this sucker. And then if we're treating the diet part of it, the start of it, as if you find yourself thinking, I can't wait till my cruise is here in August because I'm going to lose the 40 pounds by then. And that's when I can go back to eating what I want.
Right.
If you find that you are stuck in a paradigm that's not going to work for you long term.
Or eating normal.
If you find yourself thinking that, you're still stuck in that. You're still stuck in that. And I'm not saying I'm not still stuck in the paradigm. There's still times where I'm like,
oh yeah,
I want to let my hair down. You know, that you kind of feel like that sometimes.
Or sometimes, and we've talked about this in a recent podcast, you almost have one foot, you're in between paradigms. You've got one foot.
I think I might be there.
I think you are too. Because I think I'm there too sometimes. Or all the time. Like, I've got one foot. Now, you're almost like cognitive dissonance, right? Like we've talked about how like you're starting to go through that change, but you're just not quite. You have the awareness, the cost of awareness. I think it was the podcast we were talking about.
We actually just posted that.
I love that one. You have that awareness, but you haven't quite made that commitment to.
You're in
to fully understand
that part that feels uncomfortable because you're not quite the person. And I don't think I'm there yet. I think I see it.
Right.
But I think I still have patterns. And this is where I get really frustrated with, because everybody's coming out with it's, you got to eat this. And, why aren't you eating 800 carbs? You know, there's all this stuff on TikTok and Instagram and all this bro science. And you have all these influencers coming out with, you just have to eat like this. Look, you're 22 years old. You have no idea. What it's like.
Yeah. You will. Don't worry.
Don't worry.
Time will get you.
Yeah. Calm down.
Well, we've even said like it's not something to solve. It's not
something
a problem
to manage. Yeah.
It made me think of another podcast that we talked about. Like it's not a problem to solve. It's to manage.
I think this is why I haven't really put together a framework like this for the lab, because I'm feeding into that same shit.
And when you say framework, are you talking about
What to eat, when to
yes.
eat.
Yeah.
I'm more interested in.
I wanted to clarify when you said framework.
Because people are like, well, what's the food list? I'm like, you can eat whatever the hell you want. We need to talk about how you're doing it, not what to do, how you're doing it. And I know that's frustrating for some people who just need that. It's
frustrating for everybody.
I know people need that point of control, but I don't want to be in that paradigm. I don't want to be in that same stuck mentality of, okay, this is the program you need to do. And this is how it's going to be forever.
Guys. It's a Band-Aid.
It's totally a Band-Aid. Now this is where I struggled, because when I started Weight Watchers back in 2018 at 355 pounds, I needed a point of control. I needed to be told what to do.
You're right.
So I think it could be done in phases, but you can't stop at phase 1. If I put together something, you cannot stop at phase 1.
And I think I guess that's the part that where I'm agreeing with you is the framework is important and I need it. Everybody needs it, right? But I worry that people aren't going to understand that they can't just stop there.
That's it. And I'm also hesitant to do it because it feeds into the all or nothing mentality.
This isn't it. This isn't the answer, guys.
This isn't about perfection.
This is step 1 of a 15. It could be 30 steps for you.
It could be 80 steps for you.
It could be 5 steps for that person, but it could be 50 steps for that person.
Yeah, that have to do it 2 different times the same way because they didn't learn something they needed to the first time around this weight loss mountain.
Yeah.
How many times have you and I done it?
Yeah.
We didn't
I
learn
can't even count
this part.
Right.
This is the part. It's not about fitting into the jeans for one day. It's not about getting the last 15 pounds off and then feeling good about yourself for 1 week and then going back to the donuts and ho-hos or face first in something because you need to regulate yourself.
And I can only say that this time is different because of this part.
Say more.
Like this time is different for me. Like this time is for real. This is it. This is sticking because of the inner work.
We didn't do this kind of stuff before.
No.
It was always ever, what are you going to eat today?
Yeah. Did you track it? Did you get your water in?
Yeah.
Did you like hit your point? Did you get your points? Did you get under your points? Did you under your calories, under your macros? It was only ever about the food.
Yeah.
And it wasn't even really ever about working out.
No,
I
never got there because it was too scary.
Because it was only ever about step 1.
Yeah.
Because even working out was like, oh, don't ever worry about working out.
Yeah. And I took that as like, cool. I don't ever have to work out.
Because step 1 was just worry about the food. Okay. Step 1, good. All right. Because it was working. I was losing weight at step 1. That's all I had to do because that was working. It was evidence. That's all I needed.
And then we get stuck in that, just try harder.
Just
get your shit more together.
Which is what the definition of insanity, right?
But I think we thought of it as an or, like it's nutrition or, then we're at goal. It's an and. It's like the nutrition. Yeah. Okay. Now you got that. Now we're going to layer on something else. It's an and.
Yeah.
It's an and. Why are we reaching for the cashews and honey after a hard day?
It's the phases. To me, it's the phases of this journey that I never got to and the layers and the deeper inner workings and the hows and the whys that I finally, whether with age or intelligence or whatever I have finally come to in my life at this ripe old age, ripe middle age that I am at, I am able to realize. Mm-hmm. And I did not realize that at the other stages.
And maybe we weren't ready to go into the stuff. I don't even know if I'm ready to go into some of the deep work I still need to do. Like it's at some point I just have to keep asking, what if this time is different?
Yeah.
So what are you going to do differently?
Yeah.
And this was the one thing I could honestly say that I didn't do. But I didn't.
In the past times.
Yeah, but I didn't know. This wasn't a part of those those programs.
It was
either.
never talked about.
Yeah, or maybe I didn't get to the promised land, and maybe that was the magic but I don't think so. If you look at programs and what really matters to me is I don't care how many people have lost weight on your program. I really don't give two turtle shits about it. I care about how many people are sustaining their weight on your program.
Agreed.
Because that's the stuff that matters.
Yeah. They don't talk about that though.
No, there's a few that do. And those are the ones that actually probably have some really good substance to them.
Good.
Bright line eating is one.
Okay.
It's a really good one. I've talked about it a couple times. I've lost a good amount of weight on that. Felt really good.
Yeah.
It's
I'm thinking of some of the other programs that we've mentioned earlier on this podcast. They don't talk about that.
no.
Yeah.
Not Weight Watchers certainly didn't.
Yeah. I wasn't going to name their names.
Protein.
I didn't want to get sued.
I mean, yeah. Well, okay. To be fair,
yeah.
I didn't get to maintenance either.
Yeah.
So I don't know 100% what would have been talked about in that meeting. In the meeting in Greenwood, Indiana.
Yeah, I don't know.
Noon on Wednesdays. It was that particular coach. Could have totally been.
She was maintaining.
She absolutely was.
Yeah.
So there was something there. I do want to point of data. Japan has an obesity rate of 4% PS.
Mm-hmm.
There is
different perspective.
a different person, and yes, correlation isn't always causation, but I think it's interesting that Japan has a culture that it's not like they're immune to weight gain.
Oh, no.
That's not the case, but
They have the same genetics that we have.
There's fewer people cross that high risk obesity threshold. And I think it has to do a lot with, I say culture, but it's community, it's support, it's what this person's doing. This person is walking 20,000 steps a day. Mm-hmm. There's a book I read called The Magic Pill. And it's actually about GLPs, but it's not about GLPs at the same time. It's a really good book. If anybody's interested in learning more, it was actually written at the beginning of when they were first starting to come out. It's done really well. He talks about his journey on a GLP, but in a sense of he's seeking out to understand things. So he actually went to Japan.
Yeah.
And he's like looking around. He was like, there's a 4% obesity. Like, what is going on here? Why is it so different? So he was on a journey of discovery. So it's a good book about basically like, it's not a magic pill, but this is also what it was doing for him at the time. I wonder if he's going to do a follow-up book anyways. It's a pretty good book. It's a good listen. But the chapter about Japan is very interesting because they have such a culture. He went to, I think it was a manufacturing company, and up on like this board, like where everybody could see, was everybody's step count.
Interesting.
Yeah. So,
I mean, just to have that be transparent and visible is one thing.
They actually weigh in once a year.
Oh, wow.
And if you're over, a certain amount, then I don't know if you're, penalized or something. I don't know. Yeah. I don't know the extent, but there's this sense of like the actual owner or the CEO or the GM of that manufacturing plant is like 25,000 steps a day. Like he's on the leaderboard and he's leading the pack.
That's awesome.
They do 10 minutes of breathing and stretching before they start their workday. Like this is their community. This is what is expected. And Lindsay wasn't there this morning. Why not? There's this sense of camaraderie in doing these same things that is the habits, is the behaviors that is supporting that 4% obesity. They also, in their schools, they have I think they have at least one. It's a requirement, a law. I'm trying to remember the high points that they have to hire a nutritionist, and a nutritionist in Japan is not the same as a nutritionist here. Like they actually go to an additional 2 years of school to make sure that they have like this level. Like it's no joke.
That's amazing.
And there's a certain percentage of the food that the kids eat that has to be made fresh that day with ingredients. It can't be from a processed. So the sauces, it was actually made that morning. So everything, there's a level of texture and color and like, which made me think of them seeing the entire tank. Like
Yeah.
they're looking at the whole picture when they're thinking of
The
their
whole
food
environment.
even.
Yeah.
They're like, this is the texture here and this is the color here and this is the balance that it has aesthetically, as well as, I'm sure sensorially, and that, that you would taste too. Like this is sweet, this is umami, this is sour. It's got the breadth of all of the flavors that would hit your palate in that kind of way. You're not just going to have a crunch of the chips. Like that's problem. I'm not saying that doesn't happen over there. There is 4% that are obese.
Yeah.
But there's in general,
Whereas we also probably have 4% that are looking at the holistic.
By the way, the US is 40%. 40% obese. I'm not even sure if it's not more than that right now.
Yeah. What was your study?
Okay. Because you had mentioned perception.
Mm-hmm.
And it made me think of a nerdy facts I gave the other night. And this one's wild. Okay. It's called the water bottle soda study. Have you ever heard of this one?
Okay. I don't think so.
Okay. The research that proved expectation beats reality. So we're talking about your expectation of things. In the early 2000s, a team of neuroscientists and food researchers at the California Institute of Technology, it was led by Dr. I'll probably say it wrong, Hilke Plasman and Dr. Antonio Rangel. They became fascinated by a question that had quietly haunted marketers and psychologists for years. The question was, does your brain actually taste what's in your mouth, or does it taste what it expects to taste? Their study, it was published in 2008 in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences, PNAS, under the title, Marketing Actions Can Modulate Neural Representations of Experienced Pleasantness. This is a lot of big words, but stick with me on this one.
Yeah.
Okay. How the research was done. Plasman's team recruited participants and placed them in an fMRI scanner. So the researchers could see what was happening in their brain in real time. Participants were told they would be tasting different wines at different price points, $5, $10, $45, and $90 a bottle. And the researchers measured self-reported taste experience. So, okay, yeah, that was good on the tongue, or that was full-bodied, whatever they reported as a taste experience. Pleasantness ratings, like, that was a 5, that was a 10. Activity in the medial orbital frontal cortex. Orbitofrontal cortex. Let's get that right, because you guys know exactly what medial orbitofrontal cortex, the part of the brain that processes flavor and pleasure, essentially. Mm-hmm. So you guys probably don't care which one it is, but it processes flavor and pleasure. They wanted to know, if you tell the brain to expect something better, does it actually taste better? What they found, the results were pretty, I kind of expected this, I guess. But there's a part of me that's like, I would know. Like, I immediately think this. So participants believed they were drinking the more expensive wine. They reported it tasted significantly better, even though it was all the same wine. But they were told it was a $90 bottle versus a $10 bottle. They reported it tasted significantly better. They rated it as more pleasurable. And most importantly, the brain activity in the pleasure center actually changed, because they thought that it would taste better. The brain wasn't lying. The brain was producing a different experience based on expectation. Produced a different experience based on expectation. Same wine, different price tag, different taste, neurologically. This launched a wave of research into what's now called the expectation effect. I think we could maybe we do a whole nother podcast on this one, and the soda, there was a soda and a water bottle study. That was the wine part, but there was a soda and a water bottle study where they were telling participants that they were drinking water. So the researchers took clear soda, like Sprite or 7-Up, and they poured it into a regular water bottle. They labeled it as water. So you pick it up, it says water, you expect to taste water, right? And then they handed it to the participants. The participant takes a sip, and again across the studies with that one, a significant portion of the people reported tasting water, even though they were drinking Sprite or 7-Up. Or they would say things like weird water, or off tasting water, but they never said soda. I feel like I would be like, this is 7-Up.
That's weird. Because see, I've done that before where like, I'm like, hey, I'll have a Coke. And somebody hands me a Pepsi. And I'm like, that's not Coke.
I feel like I would know, but maybe I wouldn't. So I don't know.
I'm like, that's not Coke.
It didn't say all of it. It didn't say 100% people were like, no, this is totally 7-Up, you idiots. But when the brain is primed by the label, the bottle, the expectation, it overrides what your senses are telling you in some way.
Yeah.
So I want to bring that down, how this applies to us. I mean, this actually research is enormous for people on a weight loss or maintenance journey, however you want to look at it. I would prefer for us all to talk about it being a forever maintenance, ever-long type journey.
Yeah.
Because if expectation can change the way wine tastes in a scanner on the brain imaging, imagine what it's doing to every other experience in your life. If you expect the workout to be miserable, your brain will deliver miserable. If you expect dinner without dessert to feel like deprivation, your brain will deliver deprivation. If you expect the salad to be boring, your brain will deliver boring. If you expect the journey to be hard, lonely, joyless, your brain will deliver hard, lonely, and joyless. If you expect the new way of eating to feel restrictive, your brain will deliver restrictive. If you expect to fail again, if you expect to not maintain it because you keep saying, I've never maintained it, and I'm talking about myself here because that's what I did when I first got to goal. Thanks. I've never been able to maintain it though. I've never been able to maintain it. If you expect to fail again, your brain will subtly build a reality that confirms it. It might not be immediate, but this isn't magical thinking. This is neuroscience.
Yeah.
And here's the beautiful flip side. If you expect to feel strong after the walk, your brain will deliver strong. If you expect the protein and veggies to feel nourishing, your brain delivers nourishing. If you expect the morning routine to feel grounding, your brain delivers grounding. If you expect this journey to be a beautiful unfolding rather than a punishment or restriction, your brain delivers exactly that. If you expect to succeed, if you expect to maintain your weight loss, if you walk into each day expecting that you're becoming and to show up, your brain quietly arranges your reality around that expectation. This also isn't about lying to yourself about this. It's about choosing what you prime your brain to find. If you don't set yourself up for the right expectations, your journey will be what you make it.
Yeah.
Your brain will find what you are looking for.
Yeah. What is the saying? I'll get it wrong. She thought she could, so therefore she did, or something like that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What experience has been there all along waiting for me to expect something different so I could finally taste it in the way I needed to taste it. Taste maintenance in the way I needed to taste it. Taste the gym. And I know this is a bit of an experience of it. It's just, if you expect this diet to taste like all the other diets, that's exactly how it's going to taste to you.
Yeah.
So when you said perception, it made me think of the water, soda steady.
No, that's perfect. Because it's going to require a different paradigm.
It's a different mindset. It's a different attitude.
It's a different mindset. So like, how does this play out in everyday life, right? Two people walk into the same situation. One notices, I didn't stick to my plan, right? And the other person notices, this environment made my day really hard, right? Or the other person sees that person's really difficult to work with, but the other one says this person, there's tension in the dynamics, right? One person sees the fish and the other person sees
the whole tank,
the water,
the whole experience, the whole picture.
Yeah, that's just how it plays out in real life. Like you're just giving us real life examples there between the focus and the holistic view there, basically.
I think it really highlights too what we've talked about before from a neuroscience perspective, that how you think determines how you behave.
Yes.
And then how you behave is what determines your outcomes.
Yep. Yeah.
And maybe I'm getting that a little bit wrong because there's other steps to it. You know what?
Yeah.
But you're
How you think. And,
you think.
Yeah.
Your expectations are built from your past experiences, beliefs, and stories.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't intentionally choose your expectations, your old programming will choose them for you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because it has to show you, it has to give, your brain wants certainty, so it's going to try and predict what's going on.
Yeah.
And so it will at some point.
Yep. Yep. I just thought of the map. I keep thinking of old podcasts, which is
The Map and the Territory.
Mm-hmm.
That one
Yeah.
keeps coming up for me too.
I know. It's kind of like using a map. Like some of us are zoomed way in, street level, street detail, turn by turn instructions, right?
It's almost like at different phases of the journey, you have more
need
layers onto the map.
Yeah. Others are zoomed out. There's terrain, like patterns, everything connects. But like neither map is wrong,
No.
right? Both map is correct.
One just has a little more detail than the other one,
Right.
potentially.
But if you only use one, you're going to get stuck if the bridge is out,
That's right.
right? Like, or if you take the wrong, I think we said if you take the wrong exit on vacation, you're never going to make it to Florida.
Right.
You're just going to stay in Kentucky. Like, we don't do that in real life.
No.
You're going to bring out both maps, or you're going to zoom out and you're going to have both views. You're going to use that zoom out tool. Like, you have that in real life.
Yeah.
We need to have both views.
And you can update. So there's, I think of too, if you think of like a digital map, I use a heat map software through Excel, through Power BI, and you can just have it show you like just streets without
Right.
the name of the street,
Yeah.
without the terrain, without the highways, without the byways, without the water crossings. But you can choose to add on labels, and you
Yeah.
can choose to add dimension to it in different ways, because maybe you need to see it, maybe you don't.
Yeah.
And that comes down to maybe you're ready to, maybe you need to see it
Maybe you don't.
4 weeks in,
Yeah.
and you don't need to see it the first 4 weeks because you're working on the nutrition.
Yeah.
You're working on getting your
It's
ass in, walking at least
Yeah.
20 minutes a day. You're working on getting your way up to 129 ounces of water or 80
Yeah.
ounces of water, something better than what you had before. You're working on getting your ass into bed before midnight, because that's not going to lead to the best
Right.
fat loss for you.
Yep. Yep. Absolutely.
An important clarification on the whole expectation thing. I think people could see that as, this isn't about pretending things are different than they are either. Like, you don't have to fake joy. Like, oh, I love eating this
Yeah.
broccoli salad. Like, it's not
Yeah.
about that. Or ignoring.
Don't eat the broccoli salad.
Don't eat
if
the
you don't
broccoli
wanna-
salad. Find something that you freaking like.
Yeah.
And it's not about ignoring hard moments either, because you're going to have hard moments. And it's not about like pretending the journey isn't sometimes uncomfortable, because it's going to be, especially if you're going to be doing this inner work. Plan on it being uncomfortable at times. Plan on not understanding it at times. It's about being aware that your expectations shape your experience and choosing them with intention. And we're still in our 75 intentional in the lab, which intention keeps coming up now and then. And it just makes me think of like, it's really about doing that long term.
Yeah.
Walk into the workout expecting to feel proud afterwards. Don't walk into the workout thinking this is going to be easy, because that's not the case.
No.
Don't think these weights aren't going to be as heavy today, because that's not
Enjoy how difficult it is.
Yeah.
It's worth doing.
How awesome is it that you have a body
Yeah.
that can lift that weight,
Yeah.
that can walk 3,000 steps a day?
Or that you're building a body that is going to be able to do it.
It's right.
If you can't do it yet, you're building a body that will be able to.
Walk into the dinner with the friends knowing that, expecting to feel nourished, but don't expect not to or don't expect to feel comfortable telling everybody you're not drinking when you've always been the drinker of the group. That is going to be uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
But set the right so it's not about faking something about it, but it's finding the vein of truth in it and then amplifying that. That's what it is for me, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
Walk into the next 10 pounds of your journey expecting them to come, not expecting them to fight you. I think a lot of people are like, oh, that last 10 pounds is going to be really hard. Not necessarily.
Mm-hmm.
Not necessarily.
Isn't that what Mom told you?
She did. She
just
told
yesterday.
Yeah,
about me.
Yeah, she's like, Lindsay's looking really good. Lindsay's looking really good. Yeah. I said, yeah, she's got about, 20-ish pounds to go. Really? It's going to be the hardest part. I was like, not necessarily. And then we just moved on because she blinked at me like I had 6 heads. Walk into situations thinking that you're going to keep the promise to yourself. That's another one. Like, just not that you're going to be perfect, but you're going to keep your promise to yourself. And the promise to yourself could have just been, I'm not going to have wine at this dinner because I always have before. And that's going to be the hard bit. Maybe you do have a piece of bread, but you don't have the wine. That's the promise you keep to yourself.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be this crazy, toxic positivity around this kind of thing. But if you expect it to be hard, it's going to be hard. But
right.
When you had said that, I was like, man, the perception is about you setting that expectation in the right way too.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the different phases, what phase do you think you're in now?
I feel like I'm on the cusp of a phase that is changing. I think I'm on the cusp of one that I need to start to shift. I mentioned I'm like kind of I think you're in one where you have a foot in one, and I think I'm in maybe a different foot in and a foot out, but I'm in a similar one as you are. I don't know what I would label it, but in a interesting phase of just having to shift something in my mind. But
because you have a 1 in front of your number now, right?
I do. Yeah. I had a 1 in front of my number, which is
she just smiled really big too when she said
I know.
it,
I was
by
like,
the way.
I do.
We
I do
gotta
have
figure out how to record ourselves.
I know. I got
just,
a 1 in front of my number, which is that can get in your head sometimes.
It can very much get in your head.
So I just have to make sure that doesn't get in my head. But yeah. I have one more study I wanted to share.
Oh, this podcast is like full of studies.
One last study.
Sorry for those who hate studies.
I know. But no, this is a story. This is a good story.
Okay.
So in 2004, there was a massive tsunami. This is a story.
Okay.
Not a study.
Okay.
It's a story. So it hit the Indian Ocean. Over 2,000 people lost their lives. So it's a sad story. But in many places, there weren't warning systems. There weren't alarms, just the ocean. Okay. So, but here's what's fascinating. There are some coastal indigenous communities that had almost no casualties. So this is the happy part of the story. Not because they had better technology. They didn't have any technology, actually. But because they noticed something that others didn't notice. Right before the tsunami hit, the ocean did something strange. It pulled back. So dramatically, the shoreline stretched out farther than normal. Fish started flopping on the exposed seashore. And many people saw that and thought, wow, that's pretty cool, right? I'm going to go out and see what's going on. People, like Americans, would have gone out and said, I want to go see what those fish are doing. But others saw that exact same thing and thought something's wrong. So they turned and moved inland. They went to higher ground, and those are the ones that survived. So same water, same signal, different perception, right? So scientifically, we know that before a tsunami happens, water recedes dramatically, the pressure changes, the ripples through the ocean. Animals often react first. So they move inland, their behavior changes. So the animals pick up on vibrations, the infrared sound, and the subtle shifts the humans typically miss. We don't notice those kinds of things. But here's the key. The indigenous communities weren't guessing. they had something called TEK, which is traditional ecological knowledge. So they have generations of observing patterns in the environment passed down through stories and lived experiences. So what they had learned were certain signals mean what they mean within a system. So when the ocean pulled back, they didn't just see an object or an event. They saw a pattern, a relationship, or a warning embedded in the system. So they weren't reacting faster, they were seeing more. And this is the same principle as the fish study.
Totally is.
So some people were trained by culture, by experience to focus on the thing, right?
The fish.
The fish. Others were trained to focus on the system around the thing. So what matters way beyond tsunamis, because this is exactly what happens in real life, in maintenance or in weight loss or in habits, you have a moment where you go off plan, you skip a workout, or you feel stuck. And one lens says, I messed up. That's the problem. Like, that's the fish, right?
Yeah.
But another lens asks, what's the environment? What pattern led here? What signals showed up before this happened?
What was I thinking? What expectation did I have potentially?
Exactly. The expectation
The whole
part.
thing.
The whole thing. That's the water.
This is the inner work.
It is. Because
It's the big picture.
that's the truth.
It's the little details around the nutrition that you got right the first 2 to 3 weeks, which actually it's not rocket science, but we make that so complicated that we make that the fish.
It does. Yeah, breakdowns really come out of nowhere, right? The signals are there, patterns are there, like the wave is forming, basically, whether you're trained yourself to see it or not. So I think that's the part that matters for our group the most. That's why I wanted to bring up that story, because we don't change habits. Like we need to change the culture we live in and the culture that we create in order to change our habits.
The environment.
Yeah, it's important. Like in weight loss, the culture of our structure, our accountability, the precision, our focus. But in maintenance, our flexibility, our awareness, our trust.
It also doesn't mean you're never going to walk by the donuts on the counter.
Exactly.
You're never going to, it's not like you're never going to be exposed to the cookies again or the ice cream again or confronted with what you need to choose at a restaurant.
We can't stay in weight loss culture forever.
No.
And honestly, we've even said it. Should we even be in weight loss culture now?
I don't think we should.
While we're in weight loss mode.
I don't think you should. I think we should be in maintenance mode.
To be so daring as to say, should we even be in weight loss culture?
And I even say things like in weight loss mode versus maintenance, because I have one foot in that paradigm still.
Yeah.
But here I am. I'm like, yeah, but you don't understand. I grew up with diet mentality in the 80s and 90s, so everybody calm down.
We've been talking a lot about the word diet too. Like it has.
I felt like we've said it the most in this podcast than we ever have.
Because it's not we talked offline about it. We're like, the word diet
is just eating. It's just what you're eating.
Everybody has a diet.
Yeah.
The diet is what we eat. Everybody has a diet, whether it's a good diet, a bad diet. It's what you eat. It doesn't mean you're dieting.
Right.
It's just your diet. It's what you're eating. But it has such a negative connotation.
It does.
I don't know. It's interesting. But
I went out to dinner with some team members the other night, and it was at an Italian restaurant, which is, people were like, oh God, it's impossible to navigate. You could totally navigate it. But what I ordered was something altered on the menu. I asked if they would replace the pasta with their steamed vegetables. I got salmon with a lemon cream sauce-ish, and I didn't want the angel hair pasta. I just wanted the vegetables. And I licked the plate clean. Like, it was ridiculous. But when I ordered, there was this hushed, narrative at the table. Like, she's so healthy. Nobody said, oh, she's dieting though. But I kind of felt like that. I was like, they're going to think I'm dieting.
Interesting.
Yeah, I kind of.
Nobody else ordered the same thing?
No, everybody else had the delicious pasta and
Losers.
lasagna. What was interesting is I looked at everybody else's plates at the end of the meal, as one does, who is the type of eater that I am. And I had licked my plate clean, pretty much. Like there wasn't a morsel of food left, but everybody else still had like over half their meal. Like they didn't finish it. It was interesting. And I was like, how could you not finish it? That's what I think. I'm like, there's still bread on the table. Everybody
always clean our plates.
Yeah. I don't care if you're full. I'm not a quitter. But I thought that was interesting that everybody else was able to stop eating. But I don't know that I would have if I would have got the pasta.
The pasta, yeah. That's maybe another
podcast for another day.
Another foot in, foot out paradigm, right?
Yeah. And that's the managing versus solving piece. Like
something that we're still working on.
I am highly susceptible to overeating. Mm-hmm. The way I've behaved with food in the past is I don't know that I'll ever be free of that.
Are
completely.
you regulating something by having to finish your plate?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I need to go to
Is it the starving children in China,
I'm sure
Africa that we're trying to eat for? I don't know.
Because how many times were we told to finish your plate because there are children starving?
Yeah, because that's going to help them.
Maybe that's it. And it could be as simple as that.
Yeah.
This is a good one.
I know.
And I think we're just scratching the surface with some of it.
I know. I don't know. I thought this was good for the group. I don't know, consider this the paradigm and our lens and the journey.
And we're not solving it. We're
managing
shining
it.
a light on it to get curious enough to it to turn and go, am I still thinking on some level that at the end of this, when I lose the next 10 pounds, then I can have the cupcakes and shortbread, and can I then do, and I'm not saying you can't, but if you make that a part of the program now, when you get to maintenance, you just do more of what you're doing now.
Right. I mean, was the journey ever about changing your body? Or is it about changing how you think, how you see, how you interpret your world? And just
I don't think it always was. And I think that's what it should be.
Hopefully, as a group, we're starting to get to that point that it is about changing how we think and how we see.
How we feel, how we behave with the food.
Yeah, how we interpret our world.
Not just the number on the scale.
And it's not just how we look. It's more about how we feel.
Yeah.
And just like in science, growth doesn't just come from doing more of the same. It comes from being willing to see differently. Until next time, stay curious.
Keep experimenting.